to this session on COVID-19 vaccination and the impact it has on the economic well-being of a nation. Over the last 14 odd months, the globe has had to encounter a pandemic of unimaginable magnitude. Several economies have had to encounter very rough days. Lives were lost, jobs were eliminated, businesses were shuttered. But somehow now there is hope on the horizon, thanks to the fact that pharmaceutical companies have been able to identify a vaccine capable of providing the necessary support and perhaps even uh, health benefit to people against the pandemic. Now, if you were to look at it, starting somewhere late in the fourth quarter of calendar 2020, the process of vaccination has gained ground across the world. However, the process itself hasn't been that very successful, with some nations seeing a large portion of their population getting vaccinated, while certain other nations are found stuttering. In this small discussion that I intend to have with the viewers of TV9 Digital, I will enunciate why it is necessary for a quick or brisk round of vaccination. If you were to look at the available data at this point of time, the world's biggest economy, that is the United States, has reportedly vaccinated 51% of its population. And that is very much visible in the leg up in terms of economic activity that is occurring in the world's largest economy. Just as a statistic, look at the number of people who flew during the Memorial Day weekend. It created records of sort in the sense that you had numbers coming very close to pre-pandemic levels, inspiring hope among many economists and financial thinkers that yes, vaccination, particularly in the world's biggest economy, was going to be the crux, it's going to be the cornerstone for the economic well-being of that particular nation. Not just the United States, even on the other side of the Atlantic, in the European Union, you do come across instances where many countries have begun to actually relax their norms. You had conditions which prevented people from flocking to shopping malls, visiting galleries, or having a cup of coffee or breakfast at cafes and restaurants. Let's begin with the state of Israel. Technically not in Europe, but it's a very interesting pointer because Israel has managed to vaccinate over 60% of its population. And more importantly, the crucial segment, that is people who are above the age of 60 years, 90% of them have been vaccinated. So there has been a relaxation which has been announced as far as Israel is concerned. It's opened up its restaurants, cafes, and shopping malls. A similar trend is visible in other nations. Take the Nordic nation of Denmark. Today, you have about 46% of the Danish population being vaccinated, and that's giving a lot of confidence to the Danish government, and more importantly, allowing the citizens of Denmark that amount of freedom and leeway to go about doing their chores without being restricted by things like wearing a mask or observing social distancing. It's not that they have let down their guard, but it is a pointer to the fact that yes, if you give more access, the people will go about doing their economic activity, thereby contributing to the nation's might and improving the growth prospects as far as that particular nation is concerned. The other example that I would like to cite is the example of Italy. Italy is very famous for its cafes and restaurants. But unfortunately enough, for the last several months, these cafes and restaurants were closed. They did function, but then you had certain rules and regulations being brought in, like for instance, that these could only be used for takeaways and so on and so forth. But now, even that rule has been relaxed. Even in Italy, you are coming across a situation where more than 40% of its population has been vaccinated, allowing for the government to go ahead and give a nod for in-cafe dining, which is seen as a very big booster as far as economic development or activity is concerned. The moot question is, why are we talking about this here? For the simple reason that India is the world's second most populous nation. And in about 4 months flat, we will be in literally deepened into the festive season. That is when a lot of travel takes place. People go and meet friends, relatives. That's a very crucial time because on the one hand, you want to let loose, forget the shackles which have bound you, the shackles caused by the pandemic. You want to spend time, you want to spend money buying gifts. It's a feel good factor. So if you need to have that feel good factor, you need to ensure that you have adequate number of people who are vaccinated, because vaccination is perhaps the best cure available at this point of time to ensure that economic activity can take place without any kind of hindrance. If you look at the kind of festive spend that has happened, take the pointer of September, October 2020, the kind of GST collections that we recorded clearly indicating the fact that Indians are willing to spend, but they want to be in an uh, era of freedom. They don't want to be shackled or they don't want to be fearing the woolly virus. So how do we get across this problem? By ensuring that we vaccinate a vast majority of the population. Assuming that we are able to do 1 crore vaccine or vaccinations a day, that is 10 million vaccinations a day, in about 3 months' time, the crucial festive season begins with Dashera. That is somewhere in the second week of October. Starting from assuming the 1st of August, you will have about 50 or 60 odd days. And there, if you can get about 10 million vaccinations done on a daily basis, I think we will not just create a kind of a record, but we will have the satisfaction of having vaccinated a large percentage of the population and thereby reducing the risk of this woolly virus impacting us again. Get vaccinated and be safe and secure. Goodbye. Thanks for watching this video.